Hello and welcome to the tutorial on how to use the food and beverage establishment template, financial model template. The first tab that you will see is the color coding tab, which will give you an overview of on how to interpret the different cells that you will see within the model. The most important thing for you to know is that the cells color coded as yellow with the blue font and dotted border are the inputs of the model, meaning the cells that you can change and adapt to the needs of your particular business. Then there are hard-coded cells. Those are very rare. In fact, there is none in this particular model. Then we have output cells, which are basically the result of a formula. Link cells, meaning cells that reference to another cell, and then not applicable cells. The cells color coded as not applicable can be ignored and are not considered by the model due to user set inputs. So as we will see, the model adapts as you go through the inputs and fill the inputs. And if one of the scenarios that you are building makes a certain scenario that is coded within the model not applicable to your particular business, then the cell will become red and you don't need to add anything in it. The second tab that you can see is the table of content tab. So in the table of content, you can see an overview of what to expect in each tab, for example, and all the tabs are down here. Then, for example, in the inputs tab, you will find the model inputs and assumptions. The dashboards tab will provide an overview with numbers, tables and charts of the results of the model. You will find three types of dashboards: numbers only, charts only, and charts and numbers. Financial statements, the financial statements tab includes the three pro forma financial statements, so the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. Then you will also find a valuation tab that includes an estimate of the valuation of your company. We project the free cash flows 60 months in the future. Then we have an extrapolation period, and we discount the free cash flows at present value to extract an estimate for the value of your company. And then you have all the calculation tabs where you can see in detail, month by month, all the calculations that are made, all the small details as well. In particular, you can find a tab about revenues, about cost of goods sold, expenses, full-time employees, basically your hiring plan, CapEx, capital expenditure, and debt, if any. So let's start with the input tab. As you can see, each tab is divided into sections, and to open a certain section, you just need to click on the plus button. So let's make it a little bit bigger, and let's open the general information section. So in this section, you can select the name of your shop, of your food and beverage establishment. Let's say, for example, in this case, let's say funky ice cream. But it can be, this model can apply also to any other food and beverage establishments like yogurt shops, like coffee shops, bakeries, and so on. Then you can select the financial plan start date, so when the financial plan should start, the fiscal year end date, when your company opens, so the funky ice cream shop opens, in this case, let's say April 2024, and then the currency, in this case, US dollars. Then cash starting balance, how much cash you have on hand when you start, the corporate tax rate, and then quantity. So here we have the first distinction between workdays and weekend days. So you can select how many workdays you are open per week and how many weekend days you are open per week, and then how many shops you have. As you can see here, we can see the first red cell. The reason for that is that we forecast, we create forecasts for your model for 60 months, meaning 5 years. And here we said that we would start our model in January 2024. So we have 60 months in the 5 years that we have here. So no need to consider the 2029. And that is the reason why it is red, because we remember from here that red is not applicable. So going back here, in case you say, no, I want to start in June 2024, then of course, starting in June 2024 plus 60 months or 5 years, those will end in 2029. And so in this case, the cell becomes yellow. So let's go back to our original scenario. This goes back to red, and we can ignore it. Then customer per day per shop. So in this cells, you can add your estimate of how many customers you expect in weekdays and weekends for each year for each shop. So you can, in this example, code within your model a certain growth in the number of customers that come to your shop. And you can also differentiate between weekdays and weekends. Then you can codify the seasonality. So for example, some months based on the type of your business, like an ice cream shop, for example, I assume it's closed in winter or might be closed in winter. And so you can just select closed in January, February, and November, December, and open in the other months. Then you can select the seasonality. The seasonality refers, as you can see, the small one here, share of customers in a given month compared to what's specified in cells C35, G36, which is here. So the number here basically means the share of those customers. So in these particular examples, we expect our customers to be 100% of what we have specified here in June, July, and August, while 60% of what we have specified here in a given year, of course, in March. So yeah, this just for the sake of simplicity, we can just avoid selecting the year because it just refers to the month. Awesome. And then you have a quick overview of how many weekdays and weekend days you would be open with the settings that you have selected here. So March, for example, has 13 weekdays and 10 weekends, and so on. So it checks here how many, if it's open or closed, and then calculates how many weekdays and weekends you would be open for a particular month, based on how many days you have selected here that you would be open. Of course, we allow a maximum of 2 days per weekend and 5 days per weekday. And then an estimate of the revenue. This is just to give you an overview, a quick overview on how to set in the parameters by selecting the price, which is below here. But before arriving there, we allow you to codify in the model an additional revenue stream, which is the one not only from walk-in orders, so customers that come into your shop, but also delivery apps orders. In particular, you can specify whether you want to calculate these customers as a fixed value or as a share of sales. So if you select fixed value, these cells will be red, and so the relevant ones are these ones here. So fixed value, number of delivery apps order per day, let's say 30 per weekday and 60 per weekend, again, subject to the seasonality that we select here for the different months, and then how much it should grow per year and when it should start. If you want share of sales, you select share of sales. This becomes red, so not applicable. The model will ignore it, and the model will start using this. So the percentage of sales in terms of orders that you expect to have from delivery apps and when to start. And those will be in addition to the ones to the delivery apps, sorry, to the walk-in orders that we have above. Then we can close this section and move on to the next one. The next one is the revenues. So you can select here your menu, so what you sell. So in this case, we have ice cream because we are coding an ice cream shop, but as mentioned, you can code, you can apply this model to this financial plan, sorry, to any food and beverage establishment. What you need to do is just changing the categories that you want to consider. So the categories within your menus, which can be ice cream, can be drinks, cookies, whatever, coffee, whatever. And then you select the individual product here. So you can insert the individual product here by inserting product name, then selecting a category. The category is a drop-down menu that is populated by the categories that you insert here. So if I insert here test, for example, then in a drop-down menu, I will find a new category, test. So you select your category, let's say drink, sales price, you say $3, how much the price should grow per year due to inflation, whatever, or just increases that you want to apply every year. And then the sales mix. The sales mix refers to it's basically the customer mix, so what your customers purchase. So you can interpret this as out of 100 customers that come into my business, how many purchase an ice cream small? 20. How many an ice cream medium? 20. This number, of course, can be above 100 because doesn't need to be, the sum doesn't need to be 100% because a customer can buy more than one product. So let's remove this one and let's move on to expenses. So once you have done your revenues, you can do your expenses. You will find here the different products that you have inserted here with their relative category. You can add an average cost. You can insert the price at which you purchase it, or how much it costs to produce it for you, and how much this costs gross per year. Then you will have recurring expenses. Again, you can type in a category, a certain category. Then you type in the individual expense item, select the category from the drop-down menu, select a start date. Those are recurring expenses. So what month should they start? And then how you want to calculate those expenses. Should they be calculated as a share of sales, meaning just a percentage of the revenues, or as a fixed amount? Depending on your selection in the drop-down menu here, the model will tell you what to fill, what cells to fill, and what cells to ignore. And so for fixed amount, you can select a fixed amount monthly and select how much it grows per year, while for share of revenues, you can select a percentage. Then going down, you also have delivery app expenses. Those must be expressed as a share of sales. So this is not an input, as you can see from the color code. You can select how much the delivery apps charge you for a certain for offering their services to you, the categories where you want to include those, and the expense date when it should start. Of course, if you're not using it, you just need to add 0, and then the model will not consider any expenses, and you can do the same as above, the same above in the revenues. So with the in quantity, with the delivery app orders, you can just select 0 if you are not planning to use delivery apps. Then going down, we have one-time expenses. So you can also have one-time expenses, like for example, creating a website. Oops, small typo. Creating a website or renovating the shop or whatever. Those one-time expenses, you can add them here together with their category, again, from the drop-down menu that you select here. Expense date and expense amount. Then going down, hiring plan. Here you can select your staff if you plan to hire people within your business, then you can add it here. You can add your employees, so the role, the department. Again, you select first the department here, and then they appear as a drop-down value here. Their salaries, maybe they are part-time, so lower salaries, or full-time, higher salary, and so on. Start date, end date, taxation, employment taxation, and salary increase per annum. Then CapEx, capital expenditure. So for example, kitchen machinery in January 2024, kitchen utensils 2024, furniture, and then again, kitchen machineries in August 2026. So you can select the date, select the different CapEx items, the amount, and the depreciation schedule. So basically, how many years, what the useful life of those items are. For example, if you buy furniture and you expect the furniture to last 12 years and then you need to replace them, then you type in 12 here. And then finally, the last section is balance sheet. Here you can select as a share of revenues your inventories, accounts receivable, accounts payables. You can select whether you have an investor that invests in the company so that we can account for that money as well, together with a start date, an investment date, and then debt as well. In case you incur in any debt, you can select when you are issuing the debt. If you already have an outstanding debt, just insert the same number, the same value, the same date as the financial plan start date, and just insert the outstanding amount. You can then select the interest when you start repaying, and so on. And then once you have concluded setting up your inputs, you can check the results basically. As mentioned, we have 3 main dashboards, one with numbers only. Here you can find many details and metrics regarding many different data points. For example, expenses, CapEx, headcount, COGS. You just click on the plus button and open them all, or just click on the small 2 here and they are all open. Only numbers here, only charts here. So you will also have many charts that you can use in your pitch or business plan, the evolution of cash, and so on. And then charts and number. In case you want both, you can just click the third tab and you have both the chart and the number. And if you click on the small plus here, you will also have a monthly overview, not only a yearly summary, but also a monthly overview, month by month, of what's happening for a given metric. So total orders walk-in, total orders from delivery apps, total orders overall, revenue, and so on, COGS, expenses, CapEx, headcount, and so on. Then in the financial statements tab, you can find the 3 pro forma financial statements, profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. You just need to open the one you're interested in, and you can find it there. Revenues, for example, revenue, EBITDA, EBIT, net income with the margins and so on. Not only a yearly summary, but also a monthly breakdown overview. And then we have a valuation tab where given certain assumptions that you can select, like the revenue growth rate for the extrapolation period, the EBIT margin, average cost of equity, share of debt versus funding, and so on. We have a resulting weighted average cost of capital, and we calculate the free cash flows, bring them at present value with the weighted average cost of capital calculated here, and the result is an implied valuation today. You also have some multiples based on the implied valuation today here, and based on the revenue, EBITDA, and EBIT that result from the inputs that you have inserted earlier. And then the next tabs are calculation tabs. So in these calculation tabs, you can find details month by month and year by year of your financial plan. So for example, in the revenue tab, you can find details about walk-in orders, delivery app orders, and total revenues. You just expand the section and you can see the seasonality for a given month, then the average sales price for a given month, revenues, delivery app revenues, order per month, and so on. And the same with COGS as well, with a breakdown in COGS walk-in and delivery apps, and then total COGS, expenses, again, recurring and one time, month by month, and yearly summary, full-time employees with salaries, salary by department, and number of employees at the end of the year, and then CapEx as well. So what month you incur in that expense, the depreciation schedule based on the residual value, on the useful life that you have selected, the depreciation schedule. You can see the useful life, the remaining useful life, and then with debt, depending on how much debt you incur, you can see here the debt insurance, that balance at the beginning of the period, month by month, and yearly summary, and then debt capital repayment with the interest expense for the different debts that you have created in the inputs tab. And then you will also find a summary here.